Hi everyone, welcome back to the Jillibean Soup blog. This is Nicole, and today we're going to make some Halloween pillow boxes. We're going to make a set of 3 different pillow boxes like these ones here, using a few Jillibean Soup supplies. So what you need to grab is a set of the Jillibean Soup Stampable pillow boxes, the Halloween mini placemats, some Jillibean Soup pattern paper, wood sprinkles, and beanboard alphas. You'll also need some pea pod parts or die cuts, the wood veneers, a vellum coin envelope, some sewing machine thread, and some cardstock, just white. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here. These are the different papers and embellishments we're going to use. These are the new Halloween products from Jillibean Soup. And this is that pillow box that we're going to do today. We're just going to basically decorate them up. They're perfect to put little treats or prizes in for kids. So there's the perfect little Halloween craft. So the first thing we're going to make is this mummy pillow box here. And it's really simple. So what you want to do is grab your white script paper out of this Halloween stew paper pad and just cut it into 1/4 inch strips. It doesn't matter even if these strips are even. You can have them all, you can just run your scissors along the paper. And once you have your strips cut, you can leave them as it is, or you can add a little bit of texture to them just by running them through your sewing machine. Just run them in a long, thin line. It doesn't have to be straight, it can be crooked. You can even use zigzag or straight stitch, it really doesn't matter. And then once you have that chain of strips all together, just separate them with your scissors and don't worry about trimming off the ends. You probably won't even see them at this point. And then it's time to start assembling. So I have this white googly eye or orange googly eyes paper, and I'm just going to cut a couple small chunks off of my paper piece and layer them onto the pillowcase. You could do it in any manner you want. And those eyes are just going to peek through the strips. So what you want to do next is just grab those sewn strips and you just want to layer them over top of the pillow box in whatever manner you want. You don't want them straight across. You want them on an angle and zigzagged. And as you go, you can trim off little smaller pieces and layer them over top, just tucking them in and under as you go. And you'll want to trim that off, and then when you get to the top and the bottom, you'll see that there's a couple of the pointier edges. So you want to keep that in mind and keep some of those little pieces there. And just fold in your ends of your envelope, your pillow box, sorry. And then just add some strips and tuck them under. Just keep going till you get that whole front filled up. And trim off your extra. So as I started to play around with mine a little bit and started to decorate, the ends started to pop up a little. So the tape runner just wasn't holding as well as I thought. So I went ahead and I'm just going to go add some glue dots underneath just the very ends of those paper strips. And that's just going to make sure that it stays in place. Because the pillow box is 3D like, it's going to bend a lot, so you don't want to do that. Now take your thread and you just wind a bunch around your hand. And you want to create like a nest of thread and spread it out over the top of your pillow box. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And take some clear liquid glue like this and just little dabs all over the place, and just rub your thread in place and let it overhang the sides of the pillow box. Just kind of the thread gives it a cool mummified kind of look. Now it's time to kind of decorate the top, and so what I used was a lot of these wood veneer bats out of the Jillibean Soup Halloween wood veneers. They're super cute. Just add some glue dots to the back and then layer that on in there. And I think I'm also going to grab just some like linen twine here and just wrap that around and add a tag to the side just to decorate that up a little. And because the glue is still wet on the front of that pillow box, you can kind of just play with your twine and tuck it in and wrap it around and even rub it back into that liquid glue that's on there, and it'll help stick it in place however you'd like it. And then basically that is the mummy one. So you can see came together pretty quick, even though this video is sped up. Once you get those strips cut, it's really simple. There you go. So the very next one we're going to make is the pumpkin, and this one is even simpler. We're going to use a mini placemat from the Halloween mini placemat set. I'm going to use the pumpkin face here, and this is where you'll use the Jillibean Soup coin envelope. If you don't have a coin envelope, you could just use some vellum. You want to apply some adhesive to the back of the face portion of the placemat and just trim your coin envelope to fit over that. And I've just grabbed some of the wood veneer stars that are in the Halloween pack, and I'm just going to trim that extra vellum piece off and then layer some of the stars into the mouth area of the pumpkin, and add another scrap of that vellum coin envelope in behind, and you can see it's like a little bit of a shaker kind of idea there. And so again, just lots of adhesive, and add that to the front of your placemat, or sorry, your pillow box. And just before I did that, I noticed that those bottom pointy pieces were showing through, and I didn't want that. So I'm just gonna grab this striped paper here and add a little glue and stick that on and trim it off, bending the pillow box out as I go, just to trim off that edge. And then I'm gonna add that placemat back on. So that just finishes off the edges a little bit nicer. And just a word of advice, you definitely want to use glue dots for this, because it is a 3D pillow box and the placemats aren't, they're meant to be flat. So you need to bend it a little, and the glue dots help keep it in place better. And then just to jazz this up a little bit, I just added a few of the pea pod part die cut shapes from the Halloween line to just along that edge there at the top, just to make it kind of girly. And a couple of these enamel stars from Jillibean soup. I just added some of the black and gray to the top here. All right, so here's our last one, and I call him the Frankenstein, and I think he's my favorite. And he's so easy to make. So you just want to trace with the pillow box puffed up the pattern of it onto a piece of the green. It looks like it's a bit of like a chevron kind of pattern. I just want to trim that out. It's not going to be perfect right now, and we're going to fix that up later, so don't worry too much. And you just want to cut some chunks or scraps of green paper that go with it. And you just want to lay that over top and trim off the excess. And you're just kind of making like a Frankenstein-ish, face kind of pattern on here. And I'm going to do a lot of sewing on my sewing machine, but you can definitely do this by hand also. And I'm just going to cut some teeth out here with white cardstock. Just make some random triangles all the way across, as many as you'd like, to make his mouth. And now I'm going to go ahead and just sew those larger green chunked strips onto the front of the green patterned chevron. I'm going to use a little bit of zigzag, a little bit of stitchery all the way along, just to add some detail to it. You could do this by hand, or you can add more paper just to create the pattern, however you want him to look. You could really go any way you want with this one. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up my ends here really quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and take those teeth again, and I'm going to layer them over top of kind of the top part of this green background. Just alternating the size of those teeth. And they can overlap a little right now, because we're going to take a scrap piece of paper here, and I have a multicolored pattern, and just cut another 1/4 inch strip and add it across just to clean up that tooth line. So now if you take your coin envelope again, you should have enough vellum to punch out a couple 1-inch circles. And then I added some 3/4 inch circles of the web pattern, black web pattern paper. Say that really fast. And layer that together. And I'm going to add some pop dots in behind, just to kind of give it some dimension, and layer those closely to the teeth. And I'm actually going to grab my beanboard alphas, and decide what color I want. I think I'm going to go, I don't like the green, it's too much green, so I'm going to go with the black, and the black ones are glittery, so that makes it even nicer. So I'm going to add that on there. And I actually decided, once I started going, that I really wanted to add a little bit more to his mouth. It was kind of plain. So I just trimmed with a pair of pinking shears another striped paper. And then you can see I added some of those fun wood sprinkles to the eyes to make them a little more googly. And then I'm adding tons and tons of glue dots just to get it all secure. And then I'm just going to put it right onto my pillow box. And once you get it in place, then you just want to take your scissors and run it all along the edge and just trim off any of the excess that you have. So there you go, that's the last one. So there's all 3 of the pillow boxes we made. So just a quick recap, here is that mummy pillow box that we made with a little tag. And you can see it was really simple, just to cut a couple strips and add a little bit of sewing machine thread. Just gives it that, mummified kind of look. And then the easiest one by far has got to be the pumpkin with the mini placemat, front. Like, how easy was that with the tiny little wood veneer stars that just peek through? And I love the Frankenstein the most. I think he has the most character. So this one here is my favorite. And like I said, you can do this with machine or hand stitching. And it's just a fun little favor box to give your kids an extra little special Halloween treat this year. Thanks again for joining us on the blog. Hope you've had a great day, and thanks for stopping by.